Hello, class. Are you ready to start Module 4? Outstanding. Let's get started. Module 4 is all about development, that awkward stage that we all have had to go through, puberty, the physical growth and health-related behaviors of adolescence. So let's take a look at Module 4. Click on this to get the video, which you've just done because you're watching this. Outstanding, very good. Thank you for putting your names here. And let's take a look at Section 1. This is the overview and the chapter presentation. I'm going to be talking about the notes. I've got those notes and I'm ready to bring those to you. And so when you're ready, you can just control click, and those notes are coming up. If any of the control clicks aren't working properly or bringing up the wrong thing, please do let me know, and I'm happy to fix that just to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Okay, there are the notes, and you can pull those up in just a little bit. And let's move on to Section 2. Section 2 is talking about nature versus nurture. And this is about the chapter 4 is about body and growth. Just looking here, there we are, page 81. And we're going to be talking a lot more about the nature versus nurture from the perspective of the nature. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to take a look at, once you've read the chapter and once you've gone through the notes, you may want to take some notes of your own, because in journal assignment number 2, the question is about nature versus nurture. And so I would like you to discuss that a little bit. But I think that there's some fascinating things right here, and I've made a blend space with that. So if you click on this right here, it will take you to the blend space page. And as you go through it, there are some things that I think that you'll find interesting. Here's an article. Skim through that, get some things, some ideas for your notes, for your Journal 2 assignment, and take a look at a fascinating video, this doll experiment video, where back in the olden days, we did experiments like this, and we would see if a child that has watched a violent act will be himself violent at some point. How will the child act with this Bobo doll if he has watched another adult punch and kick and hit this doll? How is the student going to react? And so I think it's going to be very interesting, and I think that I would like to have you note the especially the novel aggression acts. No, the child didn't see to take the gun to the Bobo doll, but spoiler alert, don't miss it. It's very interesting stuff. Also, there is a short video here about identical twins, and you can watch that, and it's very interesting. And there is also an interesting TED Talk by Stephen Pinker that talks about how the biology of people is so much a part of what we experience. Now, what you may want to do, and this is what I like to do, and you probably already know to do this, is go ahead and maybe put this at 1.5 speed. Because for me, I can still understand what he's saying well enough, and I'm following well enough.
I spoke to you about a book that I was just in the process of completing that has come out in the
And you can decide if whatever speed you want, maybe normal speed is better for you. But take a look at this. He brings up some fascinating topics about nature versus nurture. Now, of course, he's going to be very heavy on the nature side, biology side, and how our genes dictate a lot of who we are. So take a look at it. Write down some of your thoughts about it and put those thoughts right here into journal assignment number 3, or journal assignment number 2, section number 3. And that is all right here in your view, which is more important for formation of identity, nature or nurture. Now, you've done a lot. You've read a chapter. You've heard my notes. You've watched this blend space. There's a couple of videos on that, an article. So take a look at those, pull from your notes, and talk to me about nature versus nurture. Put your response in Blackboard discussion journal number 2. 2. It should be 400 words or more. I look forward to your response because I think it's just fascinating the things that are going on here. So go to Blackboard when you're ready to put your response in. Go to Blackboard Discussions, and you'll see journal number 2 pop up. All right, better be there. Let's see, there's journal number 1. Let's see, research topic, journal number 1. Tell me journal number 2 is here someplace. I'll make sure journal assignment number 2. Not sure why that's not there. Introduction, theorist, research, journal assignment number 2. Well, it will be there. Blend Space Research Project. It will be there. Give me another 10 minutes and I'll make sure it's there. But it will look just like this. It will say journal assignment number 2, C module number 4, and it is also due on the same statement here. Yeah, put your response, yes. It is due, let's see when all of this stuff is due. It is due all at the same time because we're talking about journal and the whole module. That's all due July 18. So July 18, give me that, post that right here. And I'm sorry it's not there now, but I will get it there in 10 minutes. Okay, well, that's it for... I think that's it. Nope, sorry, there's one more thing, and it's one of my favorite things. What I would like you to do in section number, yes, that was section 3. We've got 2 more sections. Apologies. Section number 4. What I would like you to do is I would like you to continue working on your case study. You're finalizing your candidate and you're finalizing a time to come and interview. So what I would like you to do is choose your child that you would like, adolescent, anybody from ages 8 to 18, as long as it's not an immediate family member, it's all good. Cousins are fine. Obtain permission from the child's parent or guardian. Tell them it's going to be about 45 minutes. You can tell them that you're going to talk casually with your child, with the child. Please note everything that the child does. And again, you're just planning to do this, and then you're going to write a 1,500-word summary of what you have been doing, and that is outlined. The summary expectations are outlined here on page 6 and 7 of your syllabus. Now let's go back to Blackboard, because Blackboard will give us some additional information on what I'm looking for. Where it says assignment details, the case study is here. Blend Space Research Project, we'll work on that. You've seen that. Case study assignment, it's not due until July 30th, so that's why I'm saying you've got time, but I do want you to go ahead and finalize a time to do the interviews and finalize who you want to have, who you plan to interview during that time. Okay, so here's a question prompt sheet. Basically, you're going to be asking the questions to the parent and to the child. There they are. Now, of course, you can ask your own set of questions, but I think this is a good set of questions to start with. Yeah, there we go. Possible questions for the parents, and there are possible questions for the adolescents. Okay, so again, this should take about 45 minutes. You're looking at total time here, so take a look at these questions, and if you want to add your own questions to that, that's fine. I wouldn't make it ever so personal about it so that the child feels awkward or embarrassed, and the same with the parents. You would just want to be sensitive to that, and we're looking at how are they on target? Are they reaching the psychological level, social level, physical level, seeing which of these levels that they're either above or below or right at. So you're looking at getting information there. So again, in module number 4, section number 4, all you're doing is you're finalizing a child to study, and you're obtaining parental approval for that, and you're finalizing a time that you want to meet with that child. So if you've got that done, very good. There's nothing that you need to write for section 4, but there is a little footwork that needs to be done. Now, there is a little bit more footwork here in section 5 that I would like you to do. Okay, section 5. What we're trying to do is we're talking about moving from adolescence to adulthood. And what are those factors that people consider benchmarks where you're moving from adolescence into adulthood? Well, one of those might be, how old were you when you got your first paying job? Pretty much outside of the house unless you're working in the family business. How old were you when you started dating? How old were you when you moved out of the house? And what I would like you to do is ask 4 friends or 4 of your peers or 4 people that you can come in contact with these questions. And I would like you to use this data in your own experience to answer the guiding questions. So there's a little bit of data here. What was the average age for the 3 questions? So of the 4 people that you ask, what was the average age that people started getting their first paying job? How old were they when they first started dating? What was the average age when they moved out of the house? So give me some average numbers here. And what I would like you to do is I would like you to talk about which ones you found surprising. Like if you moved out of the house at age 14 or 16, that's pretty surprising because that's pretty young. You got your first job at 10 years old, that's amazing. Didn't get your first job until you were 25 years old, that's amazing too. So how old are you when you moved out of the house? Maybe they're 25 and they're still living at their parents' house. It happens all the time. This is a tough economy and a tough market, and people are looking to save expenses. So I would like you to talk about those things, what you found interesting about that, and to kind of speculate a little bit on what other characteristics help solidify a person's identity as an adult. So you can you can reflect on that as well. So do put your answers here, and I don't know, 8, 10 sentences. Basically, it's just a reflection of the data that you've been giving. The data is probably going to take you a little bit more time, but just kind of casually ask, hey, when did you get your first job? When did you start dating? When did you move out of the house? And just put those dates down. Age, 12, 13, 14 to the nearest year is fine. So I'm interested to see the data that you collect and your reflections that you're going to put in right here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for answering those guiding questions there. And that's it. That's all of module number 4. If you have any questions on module number 4, please do let me know. I'm happy to help. Okay, well, let's take a look at the notes. The notes, where did I put those? Here we are, the notes. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit on this. Okay, very good. All right, we're talking about biology here, page 81. And of course, we're talking about the pituitary gland and the endocrine system, its production of hormones. Of course, you have the hypothalamus releasing those gonadotrophins, causing the pituitary gland to produce gonadotrophic hormones, which causes us to move into puberty and causes all of those changes that we are all very familiar with. And the book does a nice job of outlining all these changes here in 82. 82 to 90. So you know all these things. You have studied these in biology. Yes, okay, growth of eggs and sperm, sure, is for female hormones and the male hormones. Now, what does that mean for us as for teachers? Well, I've taught 6th grade for many years, and much of the time, the girls' growth spurt starts from grade 5 to grade 7. There is a huge growth spurt in grade 6 for girls. Boys, pretty much the same in grade 6. And so there are many instances where the girls are bigger than guys, girls are stronger than guys, girls are faster than guys, and of course, that kind of plays on the guys' egos a little bit. One of my stories that I remember is one of the girls, she said, all right, and she was a gentle, very demure girl, and we're waiting for the buses to come, and we're in a homeroom, and there's nothing to do, and two guys are arm wrestling, and okay, they're arm wrestling. This really, okay, the strongest guy in the class, they said, the girls said, now she was one of the bigger girls in class, and she had already had her growth spurt, and she said, let me see, I want to arm wrestle you. Now, this girl also had some older brothers too, and so she knew about the strength that it was going to take to arm wrestle him. She just took the strongest fellow in my homeroom of 24 boys, and she just smashed his hand down, and they were amazed. They were like, how can a girl be more powerful? Well, in 6th grade, it happens all the time, because look at this spike here. It ages, this estrogen spike here happens so that females are bigger, they're stronger. Right here in this grade 5, 6, and sometime even into grade 7, there is a huge spike. Now notice this male androgen hormone. It is, yeah, it goes up, but it's not the steep spike that it's going to be here for girls ages 10 to 12, 10 to 13. So there is a big difference there. So be sensitive to the kids at that age level, because there's a lot of things going on, and there's a lot of adjustments that they are making to their new shape, their new bodies. Okay, so variance, body image. Okay, let's talk about body image. Early maturing boys. This is great news for boys because, oh, look, they're stronger, they're faster, they're taller, they're looked upon as leaders, and that's kind of an ego boost for boys because he's bigger, stronger, taller than his peers. He feels like, hey, I'm in control. So it's easy to be successful. It's easy to give. Sometimes parents and teachers give them more freedoms because they look older, but guess what? Mentally, they may not have caught up to where they're at physically. So be careful with that. That's kind of been my son. Big guy in grades 7 and 8. But mentally, bless his heart, I love my son, but he's catching up because physically he grew very fast, very quick. So there are apparent advantages for males, but we want to be careful. Now, body image females for early maturing girls, they can be self-conscious because they look taller. They've got the female curves before their friends do, and so they can be self-conscious, and that can lead to some self-destructive behaviors. So we want to be sure and support these girls that are maturing very quickly. They're more likely to express anxiety and depression, smoking and drinking, well, they're going to spend more time with boys because boys find those curves, find that early maturing female to be much more interesting than the ones that are later maturing. So we want to support those girls that are experiencing that early maturation process and be there and tell them it's just biology. It's just the way that we're built, but we support you. We're here to help you, and we're here to protect you too. Body image for males for late maturing boys. This is kind of hard because there are boys, freshmen, even sophomores in high school that just haven't hit that growth spurt yet. They're much shorter, they're much younger, and so it's tough for them. They are perceived as misfits. They can be victims of bullying, and it's not their fault. It's just simply they mature later than their peers do. So we want to be sensitive to that as well, mostly in high school, and we want to be supportive and say, we're here to help. We're here to protect as best we can. You will mature at some point in time, but it is hard for a late maturing boy. Okay, let's see. Yes, body image, late maturing girls. This can be a good thing for girls because they're still treated as little girls. They're still treated as still maybe the baby of the family or looked upon as being in need of more care. They may date later, which is not always a bad thing. Socially, that can be a plus or a minus. Adults may be less critical, don't have as high high expectations, but it still may be stressful for the girls who see their peers as having already matured and they have not. So again, we want to be there for their girls and to support them. Okay, less stress in puberty for girls. Of course, we want to be warm and supportive. We want to be careful of, well, we want to be aware of, that's the right word. We want to be aware of families that have their children in a more stressed environment, i.e. Maybe a divorced family, a family with violence, high levels of parent conflict, absence of fathers, lower socioeconomic status, because this may set off puberty for girls. Take a look at page 91. There's all kinds of studies that show as the stress level goes up, puberty starts earlier for girls in those more stressed environments, as well as weight gain. So we want to be aware of that and be supportive of our students that may be facing those situations, and do what we can in the classroom to let them know that we are there to help support them. Okay, we'll look at the why there. The book talks about the why. There are concerns for the students, for adolescents as they're growing. They're going to need more sleep, and often with video games and cell phones and things like that, they're up until all hours of the night. They're exhausted in the morning, so they're overstimulated and they don't receive the sleep that they need. They need 9-10 hours of sleep because their bodies are growing. They also need 2,500 calories because their bodies are growing. They need those extra calories, and oftentimes they're just filling it up with junk. They'll snack through the day, and when there maybe is a good supper in the evening, they're not hungry. So we want to be careful and say, you need to be eating better food. Put those chips down. Let's go get something that's better. Let's get you some better food. Talk with mom and dad about that, because junk food is just junk, and we don't need to be giving these adolescents just junk food. They need good food. Their bodies are growing. This is a critical time for their development. So we want to be aware of that. It also generates obesity, acne problems, and if they're eating late at night, eating junk, they can cause sleep problems too. And of course, the energy drinks that aren't good for any of us are especially bad for these kids because their bodies are actually smaller. They are more sensitive to this. So we want to be careful and let them know that those energy drinks, those high caffeine drinks, are not good for them. Okay, well, let's take a look finally here at mortality. Look how the adolescents suffer here. Mortality, 38% are car. So that's really, really sad. There are medical causes. Young people pick up a cancer as quick as any of us do. Accidents, suicides, and homicides. Each one of these things are mortality, but here in car accidents, we want to be aware of this. We want to encourage them, of course, to be in situations where they're safe. Of course, talking on the phone, texting while driving is just dangerous. There are laws against it for good reasons, because our kids just don't have the wherewithal, and even adults don't have the wherewithal too. How many of you have driven down the road or down the highway where the car is swerving into your lane, or is erratically fast or slow, and they're texting or they're talking on the phone? Not good for anyone, but it's very, very serious for young people too. So those are the slides. Those are my summaries. I think that you're going to enjoy this section, and I'm looking forward to your responses. Please contact me if you have any questions. Gbradley, Gbradley @uscupstate.edu. If you have any questions, or 864-503-5570. I'm happy to talk with you. I'm happy to work with you, and I'm looking forward to your responses for this lesson. Have a great day.